I am so excited that we get to look at the Lithops today, the living stones. They are one of my favorites. They're a really special plant. They can be a little tricky to grow. I just really want to give you an idea of what to expect when you order a Lithops from Mountain Crest Gardens, and then give you some background info on how they grow, where they're from, what you should do when you're trying to transplant them, and then the biggie, the most important, how to water a Lithops without killing it. You can find Lithops online at mountaincrestgardens.com year-round, and they come in a wide variety of types, different species, and they all have these different colors. You can see some purples, some pinks, some oranges, some greens, and even a wide variety of sizes. Now, our main Lithops listing that you'll probably see is for a 2-inch pot that includes one little Lithops in it. And unfortunately, we can't take requests on different colors and the like, but sometimes if you're lucky, there'll be bonus Lithops in there and you might even get more than one plant. A Lithops, and yes, that is the correct singular version of Lithops, it's still a Lithops. They are native to South Africa and they're what's called a mesem. They're one of the living stones, and they look this way for camouflage purposes. They're trying to avoid getting eaten by herbivores. So what they do is they stay really small like this, and all of these patterns and colors are actually highly adapted to their local geology. So they're camouflaged in and amongst the rocks, and they're staying low to hide and protect all their precious water resources because they come from a very dry climate. Let's do a sample Lithops planting, because when you get this plant, or really any plant from a greenhouse, it's a very good idea to transplant it into fresh soil. And that's going to be especially important for your Lithops. This is a very drought tolerant plant, and it's used to growing in really rocky soil. So when you transplant, this is a good time to be using Bonsai Jack's gritty mix. I would use 100% straight gritty mix in that. This is available on our site as well. And when I pull it out, you'll see it is a rocky, rapidly draining soil. So let's take a look. You can see just how rocky and gritty that soil is. That is exactly what your Lithops wants. Additionally, I'm also going to use this unglazed terracotta pot with, of course, a drainage hole in the bottom. So these two combined are going to make for some really dry conditions, which is perfect in this case. This guy's going to get transplanted today. That's about sufficient for the amount of soil I'm going to take off. The soil that it comes in is great for growing in a nursery, in a greenhouse, but you definitely want fresh soil that's grittier once you're growing at home indoors. The other great thing about this Bonsai Jack gritty mix is that it is a soil and a top dressing all in one. So that is fully transplanted. And at this point, I am not going to water. You don't want to water any succulents right after transplanting, but it is especially important for your Lithops. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and move it to its sunny location. I like growing these on sunny windowsills or under a bright grow light. But if you have especially hot afternoons, 90s and 100s, it's going to want some afternoon shade, because the combination of full sun and high temperatures can really scorch a Lithops. A Lithops has really distinctive seasonal cycles when it's out in the wild, and that's determining when it needs water and when it needs to be dry. But if you're growing indoors, things can get a little off kilter because you don't have the regular day lengths and the precipitation cycles that it would have out in the wild. So to guide your watering schedule through the year, I'm going to show you exactly what to look for to know, is it time to water, or do I need to leave this Lithops dry? So your base Lithops is going to look like this. It's just one little set of leaf pair, so 2 little inner leaves like that. And then it's going to start to flower. This usually happens around fall, late fall in the wild. And after it flowers, it's going to start to split open like this. So right down the middle, these outer leaf pairs start to open up. And both when it's flowering and when it's splitting like this, it does not want water. No water for this guy. And as those leaves open up like that, it's going to reveal a new leaf pair inside. So these are my young new leaves, and these were those old mature leaves that split apart. And at this point, it's what I like to call a self-watering plant. It's getting all of the water it needs from those outer leaves. So it's pulling the water in to support its new growth. So I don't want to be giving it any extra water at this time. It is fully in control and independent of its own watering system. And as water is pulled from those outer leaves, they're going to dry up and they're going to start to look a little rough like this. And eventually they're going to turn so dry and papery that they can be gently pulled off or they'll shed themselves, at which point then you just have your new leaf pear. And only then, when it's not flowering and it's not splitting, does it maybe need water. You're going to start to see them look thirsty. They'll be more wrinkled on the top and they might even look a little bit sunken. And that's when you can start watering it again. And you'll eventually be building up a little bit of resources for it so that come fall, it can support this whole cycle again. But I'm trying to be really careful, and I'm not really watering on top of the leaves there. I just want to kind of soak the soil around it. But only when it's showing deep wrinkles and a sunken top and it's not flowering and it's not splitting. So if you're not sure, if you're in doubt, don't water yet. It'll make it. Those things can survive months without water. So if you don't water, things will become more clear and they'll maybe become more wrinkled, and that'll be your cue that it is ready for water. Part of what I find really fun about growing lithops is just observing them and seeing all of the funky, quirky little things they do. So I have a couple examples for you over here. This one, we actually see fairly often that those mature leaves split open and it reveals not one set of leaf pairs, but two. So it's got twins right there. These both are from the same generation. Those are just going to be two separate plants eventually. So like I said, that happens fairly often. Less common is triplets. So we've got that happening over here. There's down there, you can see those were the older outer leaves. And we've got 1, 2, 3 new leaf pairs. So also all from the same generation, totally healthy and normal, but kind of rare and kind of exciting. What is not healthy and normal is what's happening over here. This is an example of what you don't want to see. So it looks pretty similar, but actually what I have here is the oldest leaf pair out there, then a younger set, and then an even younger set. So these are different generations that have split and revealed new leaves. And when you get 3 splits like that, it's called stacking. So this will happen if, let's say, you were watering while the lithops was splitting. It can start stacking up like that. And if you continue to do that, those leaves will get really mushy and they can explode and it's a gooey, rotten mess and your plant is probably not going to make it. So to avoid that, don't water while it's splitting. But there's a lot of other cool things that can happen. I noticed this one out there. So from that side, looks like a totally normal lithops, but that is actually the old leaf pair popping off the top. So sometimes they just shed their old leaves in some quirky little ways, and it's fun to kind of poke around and see what exactly is going on. So maybe you'll get some triplets. And there's a wide variety out there. I think this is a really great plant once you want to start getting into a little more intermediate to expert succulent cultivation, because it's fun, it's cute. It's actually, I think, pretty fun to care for a fussy little plant like this. And you can find yours at a link that lives probably somewhere around this video, or of course over at mountaincrestgardens.com.